probably watching this video because you know that you need to set a boundary. And boundaries sounds like such a scary word to you. It feels heavy, uncomfortable, intimidating, because setting boundaries means having to have the talk, being honest. You would risk possible disappointment from them, awkward vibes, awkward conversations, even the possibility of you losing them. It's what we all fear before having that talk. But what happens is that you stay quiet, you say yes when you want to say no, you go to this event, you listen to this person, you keep the peace, but at what cost? Deep down, you're actually starting to build that resentment. You feel unseen, so you slowly start to lose yourself just to please others. I know exactly what you feel because I have been there until I hit a point where I just couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't keep betraying myself. Then I finally started setting them. I felt so much lighter. I felt so much freer. I felt like I was coming home to myself. So if you're hesitating right now, then this video is for you, because I'll show you the signs, like the only sign actually, that it's time to start setting that boundary. Exactly how to have that conversation in a way that feels strong and empowering and not scary, because you deserve to be heard. So let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Trixie and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things self-development and spirituality to help you become your best and brightest self. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. As a recovering people pleaser, this was honestly one of the hardest things that I had to learn. Looking back, I used to laugh at jokes that were not actually funny. They were very offensive, just to not make things awkward. I sat through hours of trauma dumping for my friends, even though I was feeling completely drained, thinking, you know, I'm supposed to be a good friend, so I'll just go ahead and listen to them. I apologized for taking a sick leave. What? Like, I literally said sorry for being sick. I had flu and colds and fever, and my boss had to tell me, don't say sorry. Please don't apologize for being sick. And I cried after that because I realized that's how far gone I was. I was abandoning myself over and over just to make others feel comfortable. And here's the thing. How do you know when it's time to set the boundary? A sign of that is your inner knowing that something doesn't feel right. You know that deep down. How you feel around certain people, situations, environments, like even your job. If your time, your energy, your peace, it's constantly being affected, negatively building up, you just can't ignore that, and that is your biggest sign. Know that as a people pleaser, you might be brushing it off. You're already worrying about what they'll think. When you set that boundary, you clicked on this video for a reason, okay, and that's already such a good start. You're probably already thinking of that one situation where you've just had enough. Honor that. Don't wait until you explode. Don't wait until, you know, that resentment builds up and then you lash out at that person and then this person didn't know that you were feeling that way. It's time for you to acknowledge it first, and I want you to grab a journal or a notebook or anything, and I want you to write it down. What happened? What did they do? How did it make you feel, and what do you want to happen moving forward? You already know that one situation in your mind, one where you know that you've had enough, and naming that, writing it down, seeing the pen to paper, it makes it real. Not imagining this, you're not overreacting. It just shows how real and how valid it is. When you finally communicate those boundaries, you'll clearly see who would respect you and value you and who won't. Setting boundaries personally didn't just protect my peace, but it transformed all of my relationships. There were moments where it actually brought me closer to people. My best friend, she even thanked me for being honest with her. But one of my other friends also told me, you setting that boundary with me made me realize how unhealthy some of my habits are. The real ones, the real people that are meant to be in your life, they would understand that, they would respect that, they would grow with you. Honestly, not everyone will react that way. There were also some people in my life that I set boundaries with. They took it personally. They didn't want to give me the space that I needed. They were entitled that I do this for them. They distanced themselves. They talked behind my back. They made me feel like I was the villain for setting the boundary. Looking back, honestly, I am so glad that I honored myself. It filtered out the real ones from the fake ones. Environments or situations even that were for me and not for me. Either way, you win. Whether it brings you closer or it reveals the truth of who they actually are. All of those worst case scenarios that I've imagined in my head, like when it comes to having the conversation, didn't actually happen, because sometimes, and I know you're probably thinking this too, most of the time it's not that dramatic explosion that I feared. No, they would listen to you, because the way you say it is everything. How do you now set the boundary? Really also not so much what you say, it's how you say it. Let's start with what to say. So here is a simple boundary setting formula that I use. And it has changed everything for me, and it's very similar to what I said earlier. It's just 3. What happened? How did it make you feel? What you'd like to happen moving forward. For example, hey, I just want to be honest. When you make jokes about my weight, it actually makes me feel uncomfortable and self-conscious. I'd really appreciate it if we could keep those comments off limits moving forward. Or, I've noticed lately that our conversations have been one-sided, and I'm just starting to feel emotionally drained. I want to be there for you, but I also need space to recharge. Can we be more mindful of that, or can we do that moving forward? Like, hey, I just want to share something. When you constantly cancel last minute, it makes me feel like my time doesn't matter. So I'd really appreciate it if you just give me a heads up in our plans moving forward. It's not angry, it's not defensive, it's not you did this. You're not pointing a finger. We're focusing on what did they do and how did it make you feel. You're saying it clearly, genuinely, kindly, but at the same time, firm. You're not attacking them. There's no attacking here. Like, you're just being very clear. You're being very grounded. But here's a red flag. If they respond with something like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Because this is not an apology. Like, the phrase, I'm sorry you feel that way, it's them refusing to take responsibility for what they did. They're centering your reaction to that instead of their actions. Setting boundaries, again, will show you who's really on your side, who's really in your corner. It's not always easy having to say that, but honestly, all those difficult conversations that I've had, I've come out of that feeling so much better. Like, the peace, the clarity, it was so worth it. When you say the boundary, when you finally have that conversation via text or in person, don't feel guilty or apologize for setting those boundaries. Because the more that you are saying no to others, the more you're saying yes to yourself. Think of it that way. Okay, the more that you allow yourself to be stepped on, allow yourself to continue having that mistreatment, the more that you're not advocating for yourself. So you are honestly going to be so powerful when you start doing this. Like, you're gonna start discovering, wow, I have the guts, I have the confidence to stand up for myself. Like, wow. You'll start to feel that self-trust build slowly but surely. You'll feel more grounded, you'll feel more confident, like a freaking main character. That feeling is just one conversation away. So do it for you. Now, to wrap this up, setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first. Yes, it's one of the most loving, freeing things that you could do for yourself. When you set that boundary, you should have a calm, collected manner. If you feel very agitated, if you feel very anxious, if you feel like you want to win the argument, then it's probably not the time to set that boundary. Again, you should feel firm, you should feel calm, like having that quiet confidence, right? And if they don't understand, that's okay. The right people will respect your growth. And the wrong people, their reaction will tell you everything, and that's not your burden to carry. You're not wrong for wanting space. You're not mean for wanting respect. Just finally choosing you. And if this video spoke to you, please drop a comment below. And I hope that this finally gave you the push that you needed to have that difficult conversation. Let me know in the comments what boundary you're working up the courage to set, or which boundary already changed your life, or if you already had that conversation, let me know about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment or share to anyone who needs this message. You deserve peace, you deserve space, you deserve to be heard. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.